Hey everyone, it's Ali here from Electronic Games with another Dev Behind the Scenes, and we're going to carry on with some generative AI stuff. This time we're going to look at probably the one that you guys are really going to think about using a lot of, which is voice generation tools. So I'm using 11 Labs. Like always, you don't have to use this one, you can use whatever you like. I think there's quite a lot basing themselves off 11 Labs, so that's one thing to consider. With this one, we're going to look at two things. One is the text-to-speech and speech-to-speech. I've spoken to a few other developers about this. The problem is with a lot of the text-to-speech is it does come off quite monotonal. Depending on the tool you use, like I think some of them, like maybe Replica Studios or something, allows you to play around with it, or you can go with speech-to-speech and then you can actually get the inflections correct. The other problem is with text-to-speech is getting pronunciations correct. So the word I'm just going to put up on the screen here is pronounced taniwha. This is Maori, and that's because in Maori, WH makes that F sound. When I type this into voice generative tools or text-to-speech, they won't pick up on that sort of behavior. So when we're playing around with this, you've got to be quite careful. Either you have to write things phonetically how they're supposed to sound, or you're going to have to rely on speech-to-speech. The other big thing is that they're not always going to generate the perfect voice, and you're going to have to probably download these into something like Audition or Audacity and play around to get sort of the sound correct, which we're going to look at after I've showed you a few generative things. The other big thing is I know that a lot of people are talking about the idea of this being the end of voice acting. I think this is definitely going to change voice acting, but it's not in the manner that I think people think. What I see with a lot of these voice generative tools is that we're going to see two branches of voice acting come about. We're going to have those that are more adapted to producing the perfect voice. So this is going to be like your radio announcers and stuff like. One of the big things that really hurt radio actually probably is streaming a little bit, because a lot of the people who used to do radio had a very specific voice that was perfect for radio, and now that radio has become sort of a streaming tool, a lot of those people have kind of fallen off because they don't have the look for streaming. But again, those people, they've got the voice. Many of those people may not have the acting ability. And so what you're now going to see is the voice actor become a solid person who acts out entire scenes or entire films, and then they're chopping and changing which voice is playing over. This may come a little bit problem later on. For video games, this isn't such a big issue because often a lot of the times voice actors don't spend time in the same booth. You're just recording a series of lines and they're being chopped and shifted as they're needed. But for animation and areas like that where people need to be conversing, it may become a little bit of an issue. But as the tools improve, we're going to see that this actually becomes a lot more effective. So without further ado, we'll get into it. I'm going to play out some stuff for a couple of characters for the Legends of Maui. The first one is Tamanui Tera, which is the sun. I'm going to do a voice for him. And I will look at Ryu doing, maybe if I've got time, I will also look at doing, what's her name? Mahuika. Sorry, me trying to get my Maori right. The goddess of fire. So we'll play with some interesting stuff there, and I'll show you some cool things you can do in Audition. Right, here we go. So here we are in 11 Labs. We're going to play around. First off, let's think about what sort of voice we want for Tamanui Te Rā. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the voices aren't quite right, and this is where I'm going to have to edit it. But we'll have a look. These are some of the voices I've used. I'm currently using sort of George here as a narration.
The less effort, the faster and more powerful you will be.
So he's quite good for narration. Let's be real here. Brits are perfect for doing narration. And he's sort of almost got that slight David Attenborough feel to him, though it would be kind of cool to go a bit more that direction. So I've been playing with a few of them. One of the big problems is that they're also really hard to determine who I'm actually using for who when they're written like this. Hence, I probably want to start uploading my own voices, and then we're going to play with those. This is one I think I used for Tamanui Te Rā.
Okay, so you're not going to believe this, right? So there I am, right? Just minding my own business at the grocery store. And I'm like in the cereal aisle trying to pick out, I don't know, Cheerios or something.
Okay, maybe not that one. That one's not so nice. Let's see who else we got. Let's see, Kalam.
Life without love is like a tree without blossoms or fruit.
So that's quite good. That nice raspy sound is probably what we want. Now we're going to have to switch to multilingual version 1 is the optimal. Then we can play around with settings like how similar, how stable. We probably won't do that so much now. I kind of just leave it at the default. So the line I kind of want is just do something simple. Who dares to challenge Tamanui Te Rā? Now, I'm not sure if this is going to come out correct. Probably should. I think I've done this before. It usually comes out correct. So we're going to play this, generate it, we're going to see how it comes out, and we're just going to adjust the wording as we go along. So scroll down to generate.
Who dares to challenge Tamanui Te Rā?
No, I'm not happy with that one. It sounds too quick, so we'll try it again.
Who dares to challenge Tamanui Te Rā?
There we go. Nice, strong, powerful. That's what we want. So that's what we got there, right? And now we're going to hear how it sounds, and I record my own voice here. So hopefully everything's up and running. All right. So you're going to get to hear my voice acting. So here we go. Who dares challenge Tamanui Te Rā? Okay. Play it back. Who dares challenge Tamanui Te Rā? We'll do it again because I got a bit of stuff there. Who dares challenge Tamanui Te Rā? Who dares challenge Tamanui Te Rā? Okay. Now let's see how this comes out.
Who dares challenge Tamanui Te Rā?
So you can see this kind of cool thing is you can hear the inflections and everything working. It's copying my voice relatively well and laying over the voice that I wanted. Now again, this isn't perfect. There's still quite a bit to do there. So I'm going to also do a recording for Mahuika. Again, we're going to use my voice to do the acting, and I'm going to show you some other things. This is going to be a little bit of a spoiler here. So let's select a voice for Mahuika. Let's see. in a way, I want that raspy sound again. Because these are quite goddess. This is going to end up having goddess in a slightly English, Swedish, seductive. No, I don't think we really need that. Drew, Emily, come. So don't just look through here. What is that? Don't just pick video game because it sounds right for video game. You got here, it's American, it's overhyped. Hello. Which?
In seed time, learn. In harvest, teach. In winter, enjoy.
Yeah, maybe this could work. Okay. So we'll delete that. Okay, here we go. You impetuous imp! How dare you do this to me? You impetuous imp! How dare you do this to me? I didn't really like that. Let's try it again. You little mischievous imp! How dare you do this? You little mischievous imp! How dare you do this? Okay, so this is... I don't know if I'll keep these later on, but this is just here for demonstration purposes.
You little mischievous imp. How dare you do this?
Okay, that will do for now. I want to move on and show you guys now. Yeah, we got the voices. They're not quite what we want. And again, we have to play around. These are also the voices that are provided by Eleven Labs. They're not necessarily the best. You can add your own voice, set of voices. You are going to be required to meet certain criteria to do so. I recommend drawing up contracts, stuff with potential voices, and specifying exactly what you're going to use their voice for and not, and all sorts of things here. So I'm going to quickly download these and I'll open up Audition and we'll take a look at playing around with the different voices. We are going to use the speech to speech. Okay, so right now we've opened up our 2 files in Audition. Once again, you don't have to use the same tools as me. You can see here at the beginning we've got this sort of blank spot either side. This is because we tried to leave a bit of space for the recording. So we don't want this. We probably want to cut this off about here. Okay, so we're going to quickly play and make sure this sounds like what we want.
Who dares challenge Tamanui Terra?
Okay, cool. We've got that. Now we want to play around with the sounds a bit to get this sort of... This is going to be the sun, so we want to have a nice sort of god-like voice sort of booming, echoing around. So we can play around with a few things. First off, let's drop the pitch. We'll do a simple lower pitch. Taking everything and we've lowered the pitch. So this is what it's going to sound like now.
Who dares challenge Tamanui Terra?
Okay, sounds pretty good. That's when you're doing sort of god sounds, nice low sort of sound. Think of like, this is something else to think about, is if you've got like small things, you kind of want to go high pitch because the vocal cords are a lot shorter, and so they're going to be flying at a higher frequency. Think of it like guitar strings. If you take one string and you take it at a certain point, it will vibrate at a certain pitch or frequency. Then as you go further out, it's going to start doing a lower sound because it's moving a lot more, but as you move in closer, it's going to be faster and therefore a higher pitch. This is also like what you might want to think about is the cadence at which they speak. So bigger things might speak a bit slower because the vocal cords or whatever is moving much more, and vice versa and stuff. You can play around with it and that stuff. Another thing we want to do with gods is add in a bit of reverb. So I got a few presets that I made a while ago. So this is Terra. We test it out.
Who dares challenge Tom and Louis Terra?
So that's pretty cool. That's quite nice. And then what we can do, if you're not sure about it, what I like to do is, so I'm just going to play around with this for a second, is go to the extremes.
Who dares challenge Tom and Louis Terra?
So go to the extremes and see how the extremes work for you.
Who dares challenge Tom and Louis Terra?
And then what you want to do is adjust them back to, so that's quite a good idea, is go to the extremes and then figure out which direction you want to go in to do it. So obviously it was quite good more at that further end, so maybe you want to start working in this area and narrow it down. And same with the perception. Do we want it more as reflective? Go to the extreme. How does it sound in the extreme? So if we go again.
Who dares challenge Tom and Louis Terra?
Does it sound quite right or not? So we're going to drop that back down there. So just save and write that. So that's quite good there. We'll apply it.
Who dares challenge Tom and Louis Terra?
So that's quite good. And that's what you want to do. Focus, as you're playing around with these, focus at the extremes and move in to where you want to balance it out. This goes for any forms of tuning, in if you're doing, trying to figure out what sort of attack damage you want to do or what speed you want to do for something. Go to the far ends of the extremes and then figure it out as you go back in and eventually you'll narrow it down. So that was quite cool. With a nice simple way, we'll quickly save that. Okay, now we have Mahoika. So first things first, let's delete these two ends. Play around.
You little mischievous imp, how dare you do this?
Now, again, so this is going to be Mahoika in God form. So again, because we're going God, we'll do a lower pitch. How does it sound?
You little mischievous imp, how dare you do this?
So with women, it does sound a little bit more interesting if you're doing female gods. So maybe you kind of want that nice, normal sound with a lower pitch underneath sort of thing going on. One of the best examples I can think of as showing voice modulation and how to do gods is probably actually Stargate SG-1. They did a fantastic job with the Goa'uld and how they played it out and got the voice modulation script. So that's give you an idea. That's kind of where I'm aiming for. And then we're just going to add in prefix reverb, simple reverb. I actually have one already set for Mahoika.
You little mischievous imp, how dare you do this?
So, because Mahoika has kind of, we're going to have a player out as two different personalities. One is sort of the more human side, and then there's going to be her god side. I decided the god side's going to be a lot more reflective, and I don't want a lower decay time compared to Terra. So that's something to think about, like, how do you want it to play out? And I quite like that sound.
You little mischievous imp, how dare you do this?
You can put it on a loop. So
You little mischievous imp, how dare you do this? You little mischievous imp.
So that's just some cool little things to play around with. This is, we'll just add that in.
How dare you do this? You little mischievous imp, how dare you do this?
So that's some cool stuff you can do with the whole aspect of voice-generated AI, and you can play around with that. As I said, you have got to fiddle around with these afterwards. because they're not always going to be exactly how you want them, and you can play around with all sorts of little bits and pieces. And yeah, I think hopefully that's of some use to you guys. Anyway, that's all for today. Thanks for watching.